Welcome to another episode of Traveling with You. Today we'll be exploring Nagasaki, the one place in Japan that received foreign influence, even during the time of great seclusion. We'll be covering the prefecture's rich church history, food culture, night views, and yes, even going through a deserted island. Join me as we walk through the best places to visit in Nagasaki. We start by hopping on an airplane, landing in Nagasaki Airport, and then heading straight to Nagasaki City. It was a late arrival, so we'll immediately start things off by grabbing dinner. After navigating through some alleyways, we end up in Nagasaki's Chinatown. Here's where Kozanro, one of the best Chinese restaurants in the area, is located. And here is what I ordered, the famous Nagasaki Chinatown. A dish with rich broth made from pork and chicken, filled with vegetables and noodles on the bottom. So basically it's like a healthier ramen. That's really the best way to explain it, but it's good. I recommend it. Let's make a brief stop at my hotel for the night. This is H2 Hotel Nagasaki, and with a beautiful Japanese-style entrance, the room was small but clean, and most importantly, affordable. It's time for some nighttime exploration. I went up a hill to go see the famous night view of Isayama. In order to get there, I had to ride a ropeway to an even higher mountain. When I first arrived on the mountain, I thought this was where you're supposed to see the view, but no, this was just a radio tower. This, however, is the real place you're supposed to get up and enjoy the view. After going through a spiral slope, we end up on the top floor, the stage where you're supposed to look out at everything. And this is it. View of Nagasaki City in its entirety. This view is considered to be one of the 3 scenic night views of the world, alongside Shanghai and Monaco. My foreign viewers may be wondering, I've never heard of such a list. Well, that's because there isn't. Nagasaki City itself created this ranking system to put itself on top and kind of advertise itself. It still is pretty. It's day 2 and we're at one of the most famous places in Nagasaki, Meganebashi, or literally, Glasses Bridge, aptly named due to the fact that the 2 arches reflected in the water look like a pair of glasses. It's also Japan's oldest stone bridge, being constructed in 1634. Another famous location in Nagasaki is the Peace Park, made to forever remember the horrors of the atomic bomb. In the middle stands the iconic peace statue, with one hand raised in the air as a reminder of where the bomb came from, and another arm extended outward to symbolize a peaceful future. This is the exact location in which the atomic bomb was dropped. Unlike Hiroshima, which had buildings left from the blast, Nagasaki was mostly flattened with very little standing, so it gives off a very different, solemn tone. board a streetcar and move to our next destination that is full of beautiful Western buildings, a direct influence of foreign trade hundreds of years ago. This is what we came here for, Oura Cathedral. Nagasaki was one of the first regions in Japan to receive Christianity in the 1600s, but the religion was quickly outlawed due to tensions between the government and foreign nations. This church was built after that prohibition was lifted and is the oldest standing church in Japan. Alongside the church is a museum teaching you about the history of Christianity in Japan, as well as the difficulties and hardships of persecution believers had to endure until Christianity became legalized. A church I recommend you visit is Urakami Cathedral. It's almost equally as old as Oura Cathedral, has a mini museum, and best of all, it's free to get in. The last church-related location I want to recommend is the monument for the 26 martyrs, who were one of the first people in Japan to be killed for believing in Jesus, found at the center of Nagasaki City. Let's go back to talking about meals for a second. I'm at Kitchen Masa, a restaurant loved by the locals due to their large portion sizes and reasonable prices. Here is what I ordered, the famous turkey rice. No, doesn't have to do with the bird. It doesn't have to do with the country. Well, sort of. You see, it comes with spaghetti and fried rice. Spaghetti is Italian, fried rice is Chinese. And the deep fried pork in the middle, the tonkatsu in the middle, is supposed to represent a bridge. And you know what country's between China and Italy? That's right, Turkey. That's why they call it turkey rice. Another place to visit is Glover Garden, an old housing district that was once owned by Thomas Glover, a wealthy Scottish merchant who was instrumental in starting Kirin beer. The location has now been turned into a park where visitors can walk freely and enjoy the pretty western houses and scenery. Fun fact, Glover's son used to commission artists to bring in fish and paint them for him so he could have his own personal fish encyclopedia. Kind of like a real-life Professor Oak from Pokemon. Within the park, there's also a museum displaying all the props used during festivals in Nagasaki, giving you a blend of Western and traditional Japanese cultures. I was back at Nagasaki Station, the center of Nagasaki City, to enjoy my dinner for the night. This is Bull's Kitchen, a restaurant that focuses on selling local cuisines, but is very, very American themed, to a point that it has a gun hanging from the wall. This is the Sasebo Burger. Now, Sasebo is a city that became famous for their burgers when the US military shared their secret formula with them, but this one was honestly just a ordinary burger, really not much else to talk about. For the last stop of the evening, I went to the city office. Why did I go to the city office? Well, there's a free deck that you can go on top of the building where you can enjoy the view of Nagasaki City. It's our last day in Nagasaki, and it's finally time to explore Gunkanjima, one of Japan's most famous abandoned islands. But first, we have to stop at its museum. While I show you some shots from the museum, let me give you a bit of a background info about Gunkanjima. The island's actually artificially made around a large rock after it was discovered that the said rock had coal deposits underneath it. At one point, the island was the most densely populated city on the planet, housing more than 5,000 people in a space of about 500 meters. The island was abandoned in 1974 once the coal mines were closed. It is now considered a World Heritage Site, indicating what used to be the backbone of the Japanese Industrial Revolution. The island's scenery has been used in classic movies like 007 Skyfall, and also bad movies like the live-action Attack on Titan. It wouldn't be Japan if the island didn't have its own mascot, and no, it's not what you're thinking, it's a rock. If you have some time left over after the museum, you can grab a quick snack before you board the ship at Iwasaki Honpo, where they sell their famous kakuni manju, which is slow-cooked pork in a bao bun. It was finally time to depart. It will be a 40-minute journey until we reach the mysterious Gunkanjima. Finally, we can see Gunkanjima in all of its glory. From a distance, the high-rise cement buildings look like it can still house people, but as we get closer, we can see the wreckage and ruin that is 50 years without anyone living there. Once we land, we get a much better look of what used to be a super city. All the densely populated people packed in these tall buildings, now reduced to rubble. Unfortunately, you cannot go into any of these buildings because they could crumble, but it gives you a good insight of what life was like 50 years ago. We get one last good look of the island before we head back to the mainland to enjoy some lunch. I am at Mutsugoro, a Japanese restaurant, to try another authentic Nagasaki dish. This is lemon steak, which is thinly sliced Nagasaki Wagyu beef grilled in a sweet and sour lemon-based sauce. The best way to eat it, I think, is to put it on rice. Enjoy. Delicious. If you need to pick up some last-minute souvenirs, you can return to Nagasaki Station before you leave and pick up some essential goods, like castella cakes, which are a staple of Nagasaki desserts. I had to try one last famous Nagasaki food, the hatoshi, which is deep fried bread with shrimp in them. Super simple, super crispy, super good. Well, that wraps up my trip to Nagasaki City. I hope you enjoyed it and found the information helpful. As always, make sure to like and subscribe and to hit the notification bell below so you'll never miss updates from me. Be sure to check out some of my other videos and leave a like on those too. As always, I'll see you in the next video.